Growing up, I had dreams and aspirations, but always felt like the kid that didn't fit in. For the most part, I wasn't a bad kid, but when I made the transition into adulthood, I turned to the streets for guidance. This led to getting locked up in juvenile hall, doing time in CYA, and eventually a 120-month sentence in federal prison. I had a lot of time to think and reflect during my federal sentence, so I share with you what I learned, hoping I can positively influence someone else's life with Prison Talk.
What's up, everybody? Big Herc Prison Talk. Hope everybody had a great new year. We're kicking it off with some really good questions for you guys. Remember, if you have a question, to hit us up at FreshOutSeries@gmail.com. Also, check out our website, which is FreshOutSeries.com. We got a lot of cool stuff on there. We got the hats, we got the t-shirts, we got the pre-workout. And check out Fresh Out Series on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Patreon. And look for our podcast coming soon. Yeah, we've been working on a podcast. You guys have been asking for one, so we're working on one. Check it out for the links coming real soon for our podcast. I had a question from one of our viewers. What's crackin', Big Herc? Big fan of the show, and I love what you're doing. I have 3 unconnected questions. 1, does the TV show Beyond Scared Straight actually depict prison, or is it a bunch of acting for views? 2, can you recall the oddest, craziest thing you've seen smuggled in prison? And 3, how would a claustrophobic handle prison? Yeah, these are unrelated questions. So the first question, as far as Beyond Scared Straight, it just kind of depends on where you're doing time. In the feds, I always tell you guys, it's different than the state. In the state, you got, situations where the people carry themselves differently. It's a different mentality. They're in there for, whether it be rape, murder, assault and battery, just random crimes, and these guys have, kind of done things at a different level where in the feds, you have all money-related crimes, interstate commerce. So you have bank robbery, you have drug dealers, you have guys in there for RICO, you have people in there for white collar, mail fraud, credit card fraud, stock fraud, just a different mentality. So you're not going to get the scare straight guy in the feds, because he's in there, even if he is in a USP, he was getting money on the street. He's not in there for rape. He's not in there for assault and battery. If he did any of that stuff, it was in the commission of maybe a drug conspiracy, a robbery, or a bank robbery, or a drug deal, or something to do with, interstate commerce. So it's a different type of guy. The scare straight stuff, man, I think more or less is for views. It's entertaining. Dudes shot in your face and all that type of shit. Look, man, if you're out there doing dirt, you've already seen a lot of street shit. So a motherfucker yelling at you, talking all this shit, you're used to it. You're not even worried about that aspect of it, because you were engaged in that lifestyle before you got into the system. So it doesn't really work on those kids. You want to give those kids something to, not, to kind of steer them out of prison direction, or not want to go to prison. Show them opportunity. Take them to places where they haven't been, exposed to, and that'll change their whole thought process and how they look at what they're doing currently and what they could be doing. Because scaring a motherfucker and not going to prison is not going to work. It's more, you gotta share something positive in order to change a negative. So I think it's some bullshit. Can I recall the oddest, craziest thing I've seen smuggled into prison? I wasn't really in the smuggling scene up in there, but people smuggled in, drugs is all day long. When you talk about like cell phones, you talk about certain other things that you see, like little cameras and shit like that. Most of that stuff is being brought in by the guards, and inmates are getting it, and they might basically put it between their butt cheeks from wherever they're transporting it in the hallway, but it's not being smuggled in and visiting, because cell phones they're not being keistered like that. Motherfuckers are bringing in cell phones, You got to hook up. There's a drop spot somewhere. They're making shit happen, and that's how it's going down. Drugs is all day. You know, a lot of times guards or prison staff are involved in the importation of drugs. I mean, you can only bring so much drugs through swallowing balloons. That shit's played out. So there's other ways to get shit into prisons, and it's not up for me to tell you how they get it in there. But as far as that goes, I mean, there's a lot of other people involved besides an inmate getting a visit, or, you know, so-called, you know, in the movies where they show somebody, you know, giving them something under the table and they take it and act like they, you know, swallow it. I mean, that shit's all Hollywood. It ain't going down like that. You know, they're smuggling and shit other ways. I've heard, you know, I remember one time I was at an institution and they had claimed that somehow an inmate had got a gun on the compound. Nobody ever seen the gun. You know, there was nobody actually recovered a gun, but they locked the whole place down. They went unit to unit, stripped us fucking butt naked, had us standing, you know, outside our cells, lined up like fucking slaves, tearing up our cells 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, ski mask on. You know, that shit was crazy. It's like some fucking, you know, some bullshit. But once again, people at home, they say, well, you shouldn't be in jail. Well, dumbass, you're watching the show, so shut the fuck up. As far as claustrophobic, if you're claustrophobic, don't be committing no motherfucking crimes. You're going to be in some places that are very small. You're going to have to share space. You're going to have to learn how to shit in front of people. You're going to have to learn how to go to sleep in front of a group of people. You're going to have to learn how to do all your hygiene in front of people, dress in front of people, shower in front of motherfuckers. You know, so get used to it if you are out here doing dirt and you get caught, because there is no favoritism as far as, well, man, can you, you know, you mind if I shower over here by myself? Because some places it's communal showers. You go in there in your boxers, wear your boots, you know, slip into your shower shoes, walk into the shower. But, you know, it's some places they don't have the privacy. You're in a dorm situation. There's people all the time. There is no private shits. You're shitting with about 10 other motherfuckers. And you got to try to squeeze it out, flush the water at the same time. Because if a motherfucker hears that shit hit the water, you might get your wig split. So that's just life. Claustrophobic, don't go to jail. Don't be out here fucking up. So hope I answered all your questions.
Lockdown's over. Get your yard time in. Exclusively at FreshOutSeries.com.